boughten carpets. We have 3 sets of dishes, one for every day, one for Sunday, and one when someone... for someone special and very important comes to visit, which we've never even used yet. We have real lace curtains and 6 genuine oil paintings and 6 genuine oil paintings, and I have my own room, and Willie has his own. All of our furniture is bought in too, and it cost a whole lot. If I told you how much, you'd probably faint dead away. Mercantile says talking about how much things cost isn't proper, but it costs dear, I can tell you that. And it's the nicest furniture of any furniture in any house in Walnut Grove.
Come in.
Right up front, this hierarchy of the antagonist and the protagonist and the children, and it's just a beautiful dynamic, a wonderfully active dynamic that's created. All of you get it. You can't miss it when you see this. And how sweet Laura is as all of this begins, with the teeth and the smile. It's just so adorable. It's really, well, can we all hear it? Yeah. Okay, better. But it's just all so adorable. It's amazing. So the two of you both had your moments in this, so talk about it.
Oh my God. Well, I also love baby Carrie in this episode.
She that story when you're on the podcast.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I love this one because did you go to school the week that Country Girls aired, or were you already tutored? And if you did, what was the reaction? Well, I did not have a tutor. We had school on the set, and I know someone asked about school on the set, and that's the thing. What they would do is 4 hours work. We don't recite it, 3 hours school, 1 hour rest and recreation, plus lunch. So we had, and it was funny because it was in the school building, which was empty. They just put in tables and chairs, and it had the woman from the state of California, official teacher. We had Marion Fife and Helen Manier. I had Helen Manier, lovely woman. I know, they were fabulous. And you'd bring your homework. It was like glorified study hall, but they could help you. So we had that, but when it wasn't, if I wasn't in that episode, I went back to regular school. And I was enrolled at Bancroft Junior High. I don't know, any LA people know Bancroft? Judy Garland went there, status. I went to Hollywood High, the whole bit. So I had to go to school the very next day. And indeed, this story is a staple of my stand-up show, because it's true. I had to go to school the next morning, and this had just aired, and people had seen it. And I'm thinking, this is great. I've just been on TV, because I was really shy and got beat up at school. It's not popular. And so I thought, well, this is totally awesome. Oh, there you go. I thought, this is awesome. And I walk onto the school grounds, and there's like nobody around, and there's this girl up on the landing who I met a couple times. Jody is very popular. And I walk in the store, and she looks down, she screams at the top of her lungs from the second floor of the building, "You bitch!" And I look around, and there's nobody else here. This is talking to me. And I realized, as I've said in the book, I said, whatever I did at that moment was going to set the tone for the rest of the school year and probably the rest of my life. So I looked up at her and I said, "Thank you." run, or are you just gonna go, well, I guess we're doing this? And that's how it went down. And absolutely, the next day people were like, and then my friends who knew me were like, what was that all about? Because they knew I was completely not like that. They were like, well, that was weird. When did you become like that?
Well, the world knows you that way now forever.
People go into show business to be loved. What happened?
You are loved. Your love's huge. All right, let me answer a question here. So, is it true or is it folklore that a cast member disassembled the little house and kept it? It is true. But it was given to them, Michael gave it to them. The little house was given to Stan Ivar, who played John Carter, who the Carter family moved into the little house, and Michael gave him the house, under the condition that he could never display it anywhere, never sell it, and never do anything with it that would exploit it, because the fact of the matter was, it wasn't Michael's to give. It belonged to NBC and ultimately to Friendly Family Productions, but Michael being Michael, he said take it. And Stan, true to his word, never assembled it or had it anywhere that anyone could see it, and it leaned up against the side of his barn in Acton for over 40 years, and now it's become this termite-infested mess. He tried, yes, he did.
Then it was outside, then it was...
But he refused any offer that was given to him to have it shown or seen anywhere. We tried to get it for the 50th anniversary, but when we went out and looked at it, and I wasn't on this trip, but when people looked at it, they came back and said, no, there's really nothing there to see anymore. It's just so
Wood
deteriorated.
gets warped and the windows break and they try, but we can't return.
So we built our own for the 50th anniversary. And it didn't look anything like on the inside what it looked like on the inside of the set. The outside obviously was exactly right, but the inside was just an empty shell, as most all the buildings were on the ranch. So that's that story. Tracy, what's your...
All right, well, I had a similar experience on my broadcasting voice.
Right.
I had a similar experience. I had done an episode of Marcus Welby called Latchkey Child, and my real brother, Brad Babbage, my little brother, and James Brolin, you know, Barbara Streisand's husband, he, throughout the episode, and it was a good role, I was in the whole thing, he called me Princess. That was my name throughout the whole episode. And I went to school the next day after it aired, and someone came up to me and said, Princess, and teased me about it. And my reaction was kind of, I'm not quite, I said, if you got paid to be called Princess, don't you think you'd let them call you Princess too? I was pulling a Nelly is what I was doing. But the question here is, did you play with the kids outside of the set? Well, if you grew up as showbiz kids, those are your friends. I worked my entire childhood, and I would compete against Melissa Gilbert and Melissa Sue Anderson and Jodie Foster and Helen Hunt and Tatum O'Neal and Christy McNichol, and it was all the same group. And if Jodie Foster was working, I might have a chance of getting a role.
Right?
Because, yeah, she was an amazing actress. But so, Melissa Sue and I had known each other from the time we were probably 4 or 5 years old, going on interviews. And we did, after we go on interviews, and then I go back to her house, or she'd come back to my house, because I think she may have lived, I grew up in Northridge, Port Ranch, and I think she was also in the same area in the valley. So yes, the answer is yes, they're your friends. And when you're on set 3/4 of the year, working on different projects, you're going on interviews every day after school, your friends become the other showbiz kids. And so, yes, absolutely. And my little brother was friends with, same thing, Robbie Rist, and the Lavato boys all competed with my brother, and you just all know each other. Which is why, for me, these reunions are so spectacular, because I hadn't seen Matt or Pat in 48 years, and it's just really fun to see friends that you grew up with and a part of your childhood to be able to, get
House Con yearly. Yes. Will you be starting a Little House Con yearly? Well, as you know, we've had many that's the 50th anniversary. We run ragged all over the country. Some of you may know there were some weird doings on the Prairie last month. Some of you may have been there out in the hot sun. And so we're like, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? You cannot keep Prairie people down, as you well know. So we are plotting and scheming and like meeting in the basement of the Mercantile. And we are planning and scheming and having meetings. And I don't know how this is going to work out, but I absolutely can 100% guarantee you there will be more Little House on the Prairie cast events and reunions and cons starring us.
Very timely question.
Okay, so here's the question. Did you have to learn how to ride horses and drive the rigs, or was most of that done by stuntmen? So, yes, did have to learn to drive the wagon and did very quickly. I had ridden horses my whole life, so that part of it was very natural to me. I'm very comfortable around the horses. My first drive, however, was a bit of a challenge. Driving down the road, first shot, first moment on the show, I'm driving down and the breeze comes up and my hat blows off and I drop the line to grab my hat before it goes away, and the horses shot off the road to the left. One almost drove the other into the big oak tree that's still standing there on the road. No horses were injured in the shooting of that scene. Did get through it. Michael did promise me, however, that in order to save horses on the prairie, that he'd have to double me from now on. He didn't hold true to that. It ended up being fine. But those were always fun things to do. You get to ride and drive the carriages and wagons. That's a really cool thing to get to do.
You double face tape
I
your
did.
Nail that hat to your head.
Yeah.
Tracy, anything else? Let's do one more question
Okay,
each. Yeah.
okay, all right. I have no more stories, by the way, so my past is, I've used them all.
All right, very good.
I was a hooker, I can't.
There you go.
There's so many beautiful questions, but I do like that someone did ask, so did Jonathan Gilbert go back into the woodwork after the Simi Festival? Or has he kept in touch? We have heard, he did text, and we texted him on his birthday and stuff, and Melissa's been talking to him, and he has texted me. I think we might have scared him a little, because he didn't do events when we were on the show, he didn't go to things. And then he's like, okay, I'll come to this. And Melissa's like, you gotta come. I mean, right up to day of, he's texting in the parking lot. I don't know if I can do this. She's like, get over here. He comes in, it's great. There were 18,000 people. I don't know that that's what he had in mind. Melissa may have said, oh, it'll be nice. It'll just be a few hundred. And he gets there and it's Woodstock. And he was like, look, when we did our first photo shoot, we're side by side. He goes, I'm really glad you're standing here next to me. And he was just looking around, is it always like this? I go, no, it is not always like this. This is a lot of people. And I think we may have freaked him out slightly because that was first day doing autograph shows. And he did the Simi Festival. So when he reeled out of there, he was like, yeah, I'll get back to you about that. So I don't know how many more of these he will do. He will have to think about it because I think we shell-shocked him a little bit.
So, thank you, Alison. The last question that I got was, will there be more bus tours? And the answer to that is, as far as we know, yes, there will be bus tours. November and December. Look at simichamber.org. Look for Little House of the Prairie 50th anniversary, and look for bus tours, and you can reserve your tickets. We had a great time last Saturday. It was a beautiful day. 300 people through the course of the day. It was really terrific. I know some of you were there. we really had a good time. These are very special occasions to go back on the ranch and share our experiences with those who come on the tours. It's great. I encourage it. They're fun, a lot of fun. I want to thank you all for coming tonight.